And the first thing I wanted to discuss is the newest season of the Monster Anthology series that's on Netflix, produced by Ryan Murphy, created by Ryan Murphy. And it is centered around Ed Gein. He's a serial killer that was notable. He was very well known in like the 50s. And Charlie Hunnam is playing him. And this season was released Friday, October 3rd. And it was met with a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of them negative, if we're being honest. And
as it should be.
and, as always, whenever one of these seasons of Monster is released, the main actor comes out and defends the project. Charlie Hunnam, he came out and he said he doesn't feel like they're sensationalizing anything in regards to Ed Gein's story. They feel like they're treating it with a lot of care. And also the producer of the show, who produced it alongside Ryan Murphy, Ian Brennan, he wrote this entire season and directed it, and he said that the show is always trying to not be exploitative. It's trying to actually show that you can pull back too much when you're telling a macabre story. It's important that you tell the whole story, even with the parts that are hard to watch. And I just want to say, I feel like when it comes to true crime, there's always some level of it being exploitative. So it's hard to handle any kind of story like this with care. And the thing about Ryan Murphy is that he is known for being a little camp, with some of his shows. But like we said before, Ryan Murphy has this habit of like softening problematic people's past to make them more palatable. And I did see on TikTok someone said that Ryan Murphy makes shows for like middle class America.
Oh, for sure.
He makes gay shows for middle class America. So I feel like the popularization of true crime in 2020 and with the rise of like true crime YouTubers obviously led to like the creation of this show. And now that we're in season 3 of this anthology, it feels like Ryan Murphy is a beast that we cannot stop. But
no.
At this point, I don't know if like I'm just going to ignore it or if someone needs to do something,
I mean, it's like he is the white Tyler Perry in that sense. And it's like, it's like, it gives a takeaway. Like, I felt like the Menendez brothers season, as much as I couldn't really stand to watch it, if I'm being honest, but I did appreciate that it made some people actually look back at the case, because in my opinion, there are just a lot of issues with the way like the public at large dealt with the idea of like these two young men having alleged that they were molested by their parent. And also just a lot of misinformation people don't know about, like that there were 2 trials and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think that there is a avenue in which these narratives can be helpful. But I think the thing with like the Jeffrey Dahmer one and with Ed Gein is that like these are like the top tier serial killers, if we were to use a weird way of phrasing it. It's like, if you are in the true crime world, you know who Ed Gein is, you know who Jeffrey Dahmer is. It's like, you know who Charles Manson is. Like, at a certain point, like, what are you adding to the conversation that a well-researched, like 96-minute documentary couldn't do? And I feel like, next season's going to be Lizzie Borden, so we're finally getting a woman. But I'm also just like, there's just so much ambiguity with that case anyway. Like, I just don't trust his vision.
I agree. And
he's a charlatan.
I also find it very disheartening and annoying that the co-creator, Ian Brennan, was trying to frame the Ed Gein story as a story about mental illness, because that gets so... It's obviously very like, okay, like, yeah, if he had a mental illness, okay, he had a mental illness. But framing it in the brackets of, it's a story about mental illness. Like, there are plenty of people who have a mental illness that do not become a serial killer. There are plenty of people who have a mental illness that do not, dig up people's bodies and desecrate the dead. Like, there are plenty of people who have mental illness and live perfectly normal lives. So taking this immoral, terrible human being and trying to kind of soften his past by being like, oh, well, it's not his fault he was killing people. He had undiagnosed schizophrenia. Like, we're trying to excuse his actions and make it seem like he's just a misunderstood individual and not a monster that he is. Because it's ironic to title the show Monster and yet frame the monster in a light where he doesn't seem like so much of a monster. Because when you have, like, Dahmer with, what's his name? the white boy who acted in Dahmer. I was just thinking about him today.
Quicksilver.
Quint-
Evan Peters?
Evan Peters. When you have Evan Peters, tanned, built, abs glistening, dancing in like a thirst trap way, and having people being like, oh my gosh, Evan Peters is so hot, while he is killing, dismembering, and holding people's bodies in this fictionalized show about a real person, real things that he did. You know, it doesn't make, it's not in black and white, it's very gray. So how are people supposed to view, you know, not Ted Bundy, Dahmer? How are people supposed to view Dahmer as a bad person if first you're over-sexualizing him, then you're bringing up his childhood, then you're bringing up his mental illness, and then you're bringing up the fact that, like, oh, he's gay, he just wants a friend. He just wants to date somebody. He's just so sad. He can't help it. Like,
it's really, like, pathologizing the sad white man. And I think that's kind of the big issue with true crime at a certain point, is that it all becomes very exploitative, and everyone wants a narrative more than anything else, which doesn't accept the fact that like policing is complicated when it comes to serial killers. Like most of those crimes only get solved because there's a lot of bodies, and not because like anyone is really doing like excellent police work in a lot of these cases. I mean, just recently with the Austin yogurt shop murders, they found a really big break in that case, and they've identified one of the DNA samples, but it's someone who was not connected to the crimes at all. And so they like had like these men went to jail for like 10 years. The family's been conflicted for all this time, and then the person who, you know, committed part of this heinous crime is dead. And so it's like, those are the issues that when you want to make everything a spectacle, but you're not really investing in the things that would make it easier. Like, it's the DNA research, it's making sure that everyone knows the procedure. Like, those are the things that keep, those are the things that allow crimes to be solved, not just like making spank bank material of like Richard Speck. Like,
yeah. And another thing with true crime is that it turns people into like everyday detectives. You know, people want to go online and try to figure it out if they can, like, you know, solve the case on their own. And it reminded me of this documentary on Netflix about this hotel in Los Angeles. I forget the name of the hotel.
Oh, the one where there's like a bunch of mysterious deaths are in it. It's like one of those old, I know what you're talking about. Like it's on like Skid Row Hotel, one of those.
Yeah. And the documentary, well, the first episode is like, you know, obviously the setup, like this is the hotel, this is when it was built, these are the disappearances, the most notable disappearance. But then the rest of the documentary was just like YouTube sleuths, online sleuths, giving their side of the story and like giving their perspective. And that's something that I find very annoying about true crime, is that it doesn't feel like there is like a very strong line when we're saying like, you know, this is fact, this is fiction. This person is wrong. They did something terrible. They're immoral. Or, oh, this person's misunderstood. Like, we just need to try and, like, see their side of the story. And it's the same thing with that unknown Catfish documentary that came out recently, where, you know, this young girl is dating this, you know, young boy. They're both like 13 or 14. And they start getting these texts out of nowhere. And this little girl's getting these texts telling like, oh, you're so ugly. Your boyfriend doesn't like you. Your boyfriend likes me. He wants to be with me. Oh my gosh, you should, you know, take your, like, you should unalive yourself. All these things. And then, spoilers if you didn't watch the documentary. But at the end of the documentary, this whole thing that like everybody at the school knows about because it's such a small town. And the FBI gets involved with it as well. They find out the person who's been doing the text the whole time is the mother. And then when I'm watching this documentary, they're not even like asking the mother any hard questions. They're not pressing her about anything. Like when she was like, oh, it wasn't me in the beginning, but I continued it because I wanted to figure out what actually happened. And like,
ridiculous.
If I was the producer, I'd be like, okay, so no one believes you. I know you're lying. And you're also lying about having a job. You're lying about so many other things to your family. So what's the truth? Like, what's really going on?
It's like you're literally bullying and sexually harassing your own child. And then it's like, and then she's like crying about it. I'm like, you are alarming. You need to go to jail.
Also,
under the jail.
Sexually explicit texts to a
minor. Yeah. And I'm like, listen, the way that people will use grooming as like a catch-all term, it's like this is one of the times where I'm like, this is absolutely what it should be noted as, because they were taking advantage of them, framing it in these like secrety kind of ways. It was just very disturbing. And I just, yeah.
Yeah, it's gross because the little girl and little boy, like, I think their parents were all friends. And I can't imagine, like, being a parent and then, like, seeing my child go through that. And I'm the perpetrator.
Right.
Because there's something going on here. Like, there's something missing here. And she excused it by saying, like, oh, well, I was sexually abused when I was young, And I feel like it's just one of those things where a lot of parents nowadays are emotionally immature, with, like, boy moms, getting jealous of their son's girlfriends.
Yeah, wanting to live vicariously through like the younger generation. It's just like, girl, this is a Wendy's. Like, you don't have.
It's so sad to see it, but these same people that act this way, or like they somehow like there's something missing in your head.
Oh yeah,
and they'll still like sympathize with like serial killers.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is like, and that's been an issue with sort of the genre from like, even when you look at like, what's his name? Not Dahmer. The one that everyone thought was really attractive. I forget. Ted Bundy. And people would, and like the girls who were like, he's got such beautiful eyes and da 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 da. And I'm like, white women really are, never beating the allegations. But beyond that, it just really shows the messiness embedded in all of this stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. And me personally, I have not watched the Monster series before. Like, I'm one of those people where if I don't like something and I don't want to watch it, I'm watching someone else react to it.
Yeah.
And I have not seen any of my favorite reaction YouTubers touch that season of Monster. So I'm just assuming that nobody wants to watch it and nobody's interested in it.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I feel like when I saw season 3 being announced for the Monster Anthology series, and I saw that Charlie Hunnam was cast, like I said this off the mic, like, this man is looking for that Golden Globe. And, I get that, like, we want accolades and we want to, be praised for our acting and our work. Like, obviously, Sons of Anarchy was on FX for a very long time, very well reviewed. I don't know if he got anything from that show, but I've seen him in a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, he's talented. Like I loved his little cameo that he made, not a cameo, but he was like a minor character in not Uncut Gems, Crimson Peak. Okay. And I liked him in what's that other thing he was in with the robots? Pacific Rim. Like there's a lot of things that he's done that I'm like, you have a lot of talent, you're really interesting. But he's also like in that kind of in between space where he's like both handsome and then also like, but then seen as very like alpha male. So it's one of those things where it's like, who am I really? It's like, I don't know, babe. I believe in you though.
Yeah. I think Charlie Hunnam is a very good actor. I think that Hollywood needs to like solidify him as a leading man in the same way they've done with Henry Cavill, because I do think he is more talented and more handsome than Henry Cavill, but for some reason like this man keeps getting casted and Charlie Hunnam keeps getting like these middling projects that he's in.
Yeah.
I feel like he just needs to stick with Guy Ritchie, and just wait till like, one of those movies does really, really well. And then, he can like hop onto like the DC train. You know what I mean?
I mean, The Witcher, I think, was always going to be messy. But if there was anyone who would have been like a great Geralt replacement, like it would have been him. I mean, like, that I can be like, okay, different font, but same energy. And I'm like, okay, I can see the vision. I still don't think that the vision should be put out there, but I'm seeing it. I'm picking it up. But like, yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah. And so is Monster. So is anything from Ryan Murphy's camp. And, anytime I see a new project being greenlit by Ryan Murphy, I just have to shake my head and just look away, because
I know
I just force myself to forget about it until I start seeing people talk about it on TikTok. Then I'm like, oh yeah, that man's still working.
That man stays employed.
Yeah,
inshallah.